I'll go back. Probably get everything at different scale.
Are we good?
Yes.
Okay. Lost Bridge.
Okay, certainly meets the category. But I think that, remember photography is about light, and especially photography competitions are about light. And the pictures that are in the better light in competitions are going to generally do better. You have kind of harsh lighting here, and I think that's hurting your picture. With that said, I love the picture. It's certainly the bridge is really cool. I love the way it's decaying. It kind of goes a little way, then also it kind of falls in. This may be because of your lighting, but it's important when you bring your pictures to post-processing, and you can look this up when you can look this up when you get home. But always make sure you set your black and white points in Lightroom or whatever program you're using, because when you set your black and white points to begin with, it mathematically puts your contrast at the right place. And you may creatively adjust it from that, but I'm not sure that your contrast is set right here. But part of that is because of the lighting. 6.
Place.
Okay, again, I really like this picture. But there's a couple suggestions I want to make. I'm not sure. You notice the previous window was off-centered. It was in the thirds. This one being right in the center, not as strong. The other thing is, just watch where you crop your pictures, right? So you're kind of cropped through the top of that window. I would just leave the edge there, a little bit more of the edge there. Now, with that said, I love the textures in here. I like the fact that, your eye kind of gets pulled out the window. So we'll look at this one again, 7.
Exposed brick.
Okay, so I like what you're trying to do here. I think this is kind of interesting, but this is really, really busy. Like, where do you want me to look? You got really bright stuff on the right side, and you got branches going in a lot of direction. They're kind of confusing the eye as to where you want to look. And I also think, the branches in the foreground at the bottom there, they're not in focus. And it makes the picture a little bit more confusing to look at. So what I would do with this one, if you could shoot this one again, is I might want to crop in around those tree branches and just focus on some of those window panes, and I think it might be a stronger image. 6.
Left behind.
And it's just nice. Like, it certainly you certainly saw something interesting. I don't know where you're at, but it's pretty cool. It must have holes in the roof because there's leaves sitting in there, or somebody left the windows open. Certainly an interesting desktop. I think it all works as one. Just be careful of your edges, and it doesn't matter in this competition, but the bottom of that book is clipped off. Remember, sometimes competitions come down to very little things at the end. So, pay attention, go around your edges and make sure nothing's just slightly cut off. 7.
Paint peeling decay.
So again, I love these places. These places are really cool. Now, the interest here is the textures. What I want to suggest you do to this picture to enhance it a little more is just add a little bit more color to it. If you throw in some color there, those colors, especially on the right, they're going to really pop out. It's really going to make this image stronger. I think it's interesting. I love composition. And we're going to look at this one again. But I think a little bit of post-processing work would make this picture a lot stronger. I think compositionally it's done real good. Your exposure's good. A little bit to the right. Notice on the right in the middle, again in the foreground, that chrome thing there, or metal thing. It's a little bit bright. It might just pull your eye a little bit toward it. But let's look at this one again. 7.
Barn by the river.
Well, I guess there's some decay in that barn. Yeah, there's definitely decay in the barn. Your colors might be pushed a little bit, but compositionally, this is pretty cool. I love the shadow of the tree. This is where using harsh light helps you, right? Because you're kind of using the shadow of the tree against the barn. 7. Perfect. So your light is decent here. I think your exposure is good here. I'm not, I'm not totally loving the composition. I think it is something interesting. I'm not sure that the edge of the house and those windows are really acting as a leading line. I think they're kind of offsetting your image a little bit to the right. I think compositionally this one could be stronger. I think I would have liked to see this at a better angle, 6, or a different angle.
Which way out?
I love the fact that, if you start at the bottom left, it brings you to the right across and it brings you to the left and right out of the image. This is dimensionally, this is a really good composition. It's really nicely done the way you put this together. I think your exposure is good. There are some bright spots in it. And again, I want to say this off the record a little bit. I think your projector is projecting a little bit bright. So I think this image is brighter than it looked on your computer screen. But I don't see anything that's blown out, so that's all good. My only suggestion for this, maybe a little bit more pop in the color, in those yellows and reds and the greens in the background. It might make this stronger, but I really like it the way it is. 7.
Solo paint.
So there's different ways in Lightroom and Photoshop to make your line straight. Okay, and again, you could ask me after, or ask any of the other members of the club who know how to do it. I like your composition here, but what bothers me is look at the bottom edge where the yellow is. It kind of makes the whole picture look crooked. All you have to do, you could just crop that shorter so that it doesn't look like it's as crooked, or you could use different things in Photoshop or Lightroom to straighten that out, some perspective crops and things, and it'll straighten that out so it doesn't look crooked. And I think this would be a lot stronger. It might look a little bit bright, but I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt here because I know the projector's projecting bright. Make sure that after you process an image, you re-look again at Histogram, and you make sure that histogram, for Photo Contest Pro and stuff, make sure the histogram is below 240 on the right and above 20 on the left. Because sometimes, even if it's under 255, sometimes Photo Contest Pro will make the image look blown out. So 240, 20, and you're going to be pretty safe that your whites and your shadows will be okay. 7.
U.S. Navy bus.
Cool. Exposure, because this is cool. Sometimes it's too dark in there, but you pulled your exposure in from the outside. I think your exposure is done well. I think it's a kind of a cool straight on composition. This is one of those ones where it's straight on, like the hallway. It kind of works. The seats are all interesting. There's lots of interesting decay in there. 7.
Rusty propeller shaft.
It's pretty cool. Generally you don't want 2 subjects. And I'm kind of looking at those 2 things as 2 subjects, but I think the whole image works with the 2 subjects, because sometimes you have 2 subjects in an image, your eye competes one for the next, but this is appearing just as one picture to me, so I think that's good. I like the colors in there. I like the way you have it cropped. carefully on the right side, you didn't cut anything off. It's getting close on the bottom, but you were sure to keep that in there, and that's important. Just if you cut that off, I think you would lose some points. 7.
Of another time.
Okay. Looks like Sandy Hook if I had a guess. Right? Yeah. All I think about when I see this is the Fox, because the Fox live under that building.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so cool. I kind of like the geometric patterns in there. The blue sky looks pretty cool. Not 100%. It's well, it's fine. Again, just mention perspective crop a little bit on the left, in order to straighten that drain pipe out. Just because it's just making me feel like the whole picture is tilted because of that. And whether it was like that or it's lens distortion or the angle you shot it at, it doesn't matter. It's just when you're looking at it as a picture, you want to see the lines straight. But other than that, I think this is good. 7. It's cool colors.
2 worlds.
So now you shot it from the other side. Yeah. There's some pictures in there, people in there. So, I'm not really sure what the people are doing. You have to make each part of your picture needs to work with each other. Okay. My eye keeps going to the people. The category is abandoned decay. My eye's not staying on the house. So really, again, right before you submit it, say, am I meeting when my eye looks at this picture, is it matching the assigned topic? And I think this one is not. 6.
0.
So I'm going to say the same thing with this one. This is kind of somewhat of a portrait or trying to, whether it's a picture, I assume it's a picture, or if it's a real person, it's fine. But I'm not sure that this one's matching the category. I mean, it's a pretty cool concept. I'm not sure it's matching the category. 6.
Can't stop nature.
Okay, so this is pretty cool. It certainly matches the category. I like the textures. There's a lot going on. Might crop a little bit off the top. I'm not sure you need all that stuff. It's about the building. Again, if it's not adding to the picture, crop it out for competition. So I crop a little bit more off the top, and that board or door that's at the bottom middle there, make sure that's not cut off. 6. 9. 9. 9. 7. 9. 8.
'Time B. Abandoned and Decayed. Honorable mention. Letchworth, Abandoned, Not Forgotten. Alpha Guccio. A Better Place. Wayne Greenstone. Paint Peeling Decay. Alpha Guccio. Barn by the River. Fernando Gomes. Forgotten U.S. Navy Bus. Emma Tager. Of Another Time. Fernando Gomes. And equal merit, window to the unknown, Fernando Go. Left behind, Emma Taker. Which way out, Wayne Greenstone. Rusty propeller shaft, Al Faguccio.
Before you go on, Nick, I had a request that you repeat the numbers for the histogram so that the whites don't look blown out.
Yeah, so, and again, this came from Jack Moskowitz. So 240 on the right, 20 on the left. So your histogram goes from 0 to 255. So it might be perfect in the camera, but then when you're processing and you're playing with curves and levels and all this other stuff, you may push beyond that. So when your picture's finally done, bring the histogram back and make sure you're under 240 on the right and over 20 on the left. That'll assure that your whites aren't going to get blown out. Now, just to mention, that doesn't always compensate for the projector. That compensates for Photo Contest Pro, so it still might look blown out, but your chances are better if you're in on both those ends. Okay, if that makes sense.
Could you also end up with the opposite issue where you don't have enough contrast?
Probably not. According to Jack, it doesn't.
Okay.
But that's a good point. I mean, make sure your contrast is okay at that point. Make sure it looks okay.
Thank you.
Cranford-Millburn assigned A, abandoned and decayed. One wall left.
Bright's me a little bit, but this is really cool. It's a really interesting wall. I like the angle. Your composition is good. 7.
Doorway.
Yes, it's a doorway. Just my only suggestion here is the red thing on the right. Again, you just crop it off. Always, both in your viewfinder. Personally, when I'm taking the picture, I'll usually, when possible, go a little bit wider so I can play a little bit cropping later. But always when you're done, go around all your edges. Make sure there's not things crossing into your edges. That red thing, and now that I pointed out, you're probably all looking at it. It's just a little bit distracting. Otherwise, I think this is done pretty well. 7.
Vintage car parts.
Again, really nicely done. This is cool. I love the way you brought the greens out. Close up. Again, not the best of light, but it really doesn't matter. The shadows don't really affect you here. You know, the light's making the image a little bit stronger. Good composition, everything sharp. 7.
Wall.
So it's interesting that you included the whole room in here. I like all the graffiti. You know, I'm not so sure that you need all that foreground. You know, the interest is sort of way in the back, but it does sort of give it another perspective of size and perspective that way. We'll look again. 7.
Creepy doll.
Oh, it's a creepy doll. I like the fact that you converted this to black and white. I think it's a good choice for black and white. Little bit bright, you know, you got some really hot spots on that, but you know, it may be adding to the interest of this. Just remember, always put a white border around these images, because if you notice in the upper left, it's sort of blending into the screen. I don't know where the picture starts and the screen stops, right? I could imagine it because in the bright spots you can see it, but just be careful of that. 7.
Abandoned gas station.
All right, well, you got decent light, decent sky there, even though it's not the best time of day, but it works. I like the way you did this at an angle. I think your exposure and everything is good. Yeah, that's pretty cool. 7.
Two windows.
Why do I think this is Sandy Hook also? So I'm gonna ask the question as to this. We're trying to show those windows, which are pretty cool. And again, shooting this, you weren't thinking this, but for competition, I want you to think in your head, what does that sky add to the picture? So it's a bright, sort of boring sky. What does it add to the picture? If I cropped at the top of that building, don't you think it would be stronger? Don't you think it would just pull my eyes to the windows to where you want it to go? You don't need that. It's something that's not needed in the picture. Again, this is another one that would really do good with a perspective crop, or just in Lightroom you could just change the angles and straighten these lines right out. But I think that bright sky is just bothering me too much on this one. 6.
Not a dent.
So I like the low view. This is, if you look at the website, I have about 10 of these from like the same angle of cars like this. So that's a good thing. Just watch your cropping on the right side there. You're really close. Notice how you left some room on the left. And again, when I'm shooting, I'll make my composition, especially, if I'm using a zoom lens or using my feet to zoom in or out, just go 10 to, because then you can make sure that if you have to straighten something out, nothing's cropped off. But nicely done. 7.
Windows at the stacks.
Just like to shoot. This is
Like still stuff.
Yeah, so we were there with a group last year, and these two people came with me, and all we were doing was shooting these windows, and we shot them out wide. We were shooting them in close, and we were doing all kinds of fun things with these windows. I really enjoy this. I like the patterns in here, and I like the way you have it like a 4x4 kind of table. I think your exposure is good. This one's interesting. It's cool, but just think this was on the wall. You can spend a lot of time looking at this picture. There's so much going on in it. And it's not one of these pictures where you need a leading line, or it's sort of patterns and repetitive things. This is done nicely. 7.
Graffiti.
Just a warning to you. Some judges don't like you taking pictures of other people's art, so they won't give you a score. This isn't really it's about graffiti in an abandoned place, so it certainly fits the category, in my opinion. I think it's interesting. I like the railing in front. I think your exposure is good. 7.
Apache death caves.
So again, another thing I tell you about judging. Some judges put a lot of weight on the title. Some judges say you should ignore the title when you're judging. That's up to the judge. The problem with this is pretty cool, but if there's no title here, I have no idea what I'm looking at here. And I wouldn't think of this as something that's abandoned. Looking at it 15 seconds, I have to look at it. It might, maybe if I got closer and I could spend some time, but just be careful. I'm not sure it's completely fitting the category. It is fitting the category, but I only know that because of the title. But looking at the picture has to tell the story. 6.
Freddy's place.
Freddy, who's Freddy? Ryan's new place.
How'd you know?
Sky. Hope it's real. It's not. You did a good job with it. Yeah, this is cool. I mean, again, it's not a picture that has a lot of flow, but that sort of abandoned decay doesn't have to always have a lot of flow because there's a lot of different things going on. You know, I really like the door on the left, and I like that it's leading to that building in the back. I keep saying in my mind, and just think about this in your own head. Whatever is the red structure on the right? If you took your hand and just cut that off, would that change this picture? Would it make it any stronger or would it make it weaker? In my opinion, I think it would make it stronger. I'm not so sure that you need that. I think it's a little distracting. But we'll look again. Now, second time I go through it, like I make that decision in a second on most of them because like now, is that bothering me? Is it stronger? Is it weaker? The second time I see it, I'll be able to say, oh yeah, it bothers me, and it'll get a lower score. But do that yourself when you're going through your pictures. Kind of go through them quick and say, all right, where does my eye go? What's the first place my eye goes? Is everything needed that's in that picture? Do you really need it? Right. So that's what's going through my mind right now. Do you really need that? I really like everything on the left. Not so sure I like that on the right as much. So I'll decide that when we go through it again. 7.
Garden State Plate.
Okay. Again, colors are a little bit pushed. Was at our workshop for the Penhurst Asylum that we did, and I love pushing the colors. Again, I think these abandoned places as places where I could just really crank out these colors. I love the colors. I don't mind the fact that you crank them out. I kind of wish it wasn't so centered, but I think it's okay the way it's presented. I think it's you know, I think it still works. And some people might look at these bright colors and be like, oh my God. But you know, that's a personal taste. But I like it. 7. Like Rome.
Abandoned and Decayed, old prison cell.
And I don't know if this is Eastern State Penitentiary, but
Looks like it.
I like all the textures. You know, texture, shapes, tones make for good black and white images. And I think this meets all the criteria. 7. Nine. 9. 9. 9. 7. 8. 9. Nice job.
Speaking online, if you could speak up a little bit, please.
Do you want me to use the microphone? Pretty much.
Push it on your shirt.
Yeah, is it on?
Yeah, it's on.
Yeah, we put it here.
Probably won't get me.
I'll need to hear you. Oh, yeah. Is that better? Hello out there in TV land.
I could see if maybe my mic's okay. I'm gonna say maybe my mic volume is low.
If you couldn't hear me, all those images got 6s the last one.
Tire confidence. Okay. Sign Cade. Honorable mention. One wall left, Jim Chalanek. Doorway, Wendy Kaplan. Wall, James Chalanek. Freddy's Place, Charlene Federowitz. And equal map. Vintage car parts, Charlene Federowitz. Creepy doll, Nellie Stovall. Abandoned gas station, Wendy Milligan. Not a dent, Charlene Federowitz. Windows at the Stacks, James Schler. Garden State Plate, Nellie Stillard. Abandoned and Decayed, Old Prison Cell, Lenny Milligan. Cranford-Millburn, Assigned Salon, Abandoned and Decayed.
So I'm gonna say less in this one. I want you to kind of when you're going through these things, think if think of what I would be saying about the picture. I might say comment on some of them, but I'm gonna just give more scores on the salon group. 7. 7. 7. See, they've been listening. 6. I don't think it's enough about the abandon and decay, right? I would just put the stacks in there. 7, really nice.
Not saying the title. I was thinking.
Oh my God, I know. Sorry about that. Oh, now we have to go back. So again, I just wish that chair wasn't cut off, and I think in the salon group, you can't do that. 6. I like it otherwise.
Window and an output.
Look how, that exposure is done perfect. This one was done really nicely. 7. Now you have to remind me because I might give it an 8 later.
Yeah, Asylum Hall.
Isn't it cool the way the light, you see the light coming through all the way down and it pulls you all the way down to the back of this picture. Lots of cool stuff going on here. 7. So remember we were looking at that other picture before, and I said I think the interest is kind of further away, and it was, but just the fact of putting that chair there, or whether that chair was there, it just adds some interest in the foreground. I love the shadows. I love the way the light's coming through. It's an interesting image to go into black and white, but I think you did good. I'm not sure if you also added a texture to it or you just added a frame to make it look like that, but that whole presentation is pretty nice. 7.
Reclaimed by Nature.
6.
Boat Graveyard.
7.
Autumn Embrace, Time and Decay.
7.
Stories It Could Tell.
Oh yeah, that's a place for an orgy. 7.
Squeaky Window.
7.
Something Before, Ellis Island Hospital.
Now that is really cool. The story there is really cool. 7.
Rusty and Proud.
I like the colors in it. I like the reds versus the blue sky. 7.
Fragmented Layers, The Art of Peeling.
Somebody's been hanging around Jackie Dickert. I need to take my Jackie Dickert drugs. I mean, it's a cool concept. I like the fact that you got close. I mean, the thing that's going to make this image work is everything sharp. I'm not so sure that everything is sharp. If you're gonna go for this, I think everything has to be sharp. Upper left is not sharp. That the little bit in the bottom right's not sharp. So 6. Eight. 9. 9, 9, 9, 9. So what's going on in my head right now is is the stuff on the right bothering me, or is it adding to the decay? Well, you see, now I spent too long on it because I think those clouds in the back are blown out. 7. Sorry. 7. 9. 9. 9. 8. Wow, lots of 9s. I know.
Science Salon, Abandoned and Decayed. Honorable mention. Have a seat, Ellen Stein. Mayflower Window, Natalie Gregory. Old, Rusty, and Proud, Benny McDonald. Equal Merit, The Red Door, Cheryl Goffili. Water Damage, Arlene Sopranzetti. Window in an Alcove, Ellen Stein. PA Silent Hallway, Natalie Gregory. Abandoned number 2, Cheryl Gilfilly. The Stories It Could Tell, Ellen Stein. Squeaky Window, Natalie Gregory. Abandoned Ordinance, Island Hospital, Cheryl Gilfilly.
Nice.
I have a quick question for you. For this category, for a lot of these ones with the texture and stuff, do you think it often works to do a little bit extra clarity and or contrast than you would normally do on another subject?
Yeah, so here's what I think. I definitely push the contrast, the texture, um, structure. If you use Nick structure, I overly push this. And if you look at my pictures from Abandoned and Decay, I always push the saturation a little bit. I usually push the saturation in 1 or 2 colors, not all the colors, so that 1 or 2 colors push out. And then I put another layer on. I really push the structure or clarity, and then I just paint it in on just all the edges. And I really think that brings these out a lot more. Okay, but you have to always remember, it's always tough, especially on these close-ups, that the lighting's got to be right, because if they're harsh shadows, it's not going to make it look right.
Cranford-Millburn, Open B. Sand formation. Oops, sorry. That's for
So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool sort of patterns and light you got working in there. It's a abstract. Again, if you ignore the title, you're kind of looking at this like, am I looking at some drone picture of structures, or am I looking at something close up? Again, I think as an abstract, I think this is pretty cool. 7.
7.
Oh, so you want me to give you a 7? You just like you want me to repeat the title? Okay. I love backlit fall foliage. That's one time when the sun behind you could really be beneficial. 7. I might be missing something. I just don't know where that title comes from. Subliminal.
U.S. Marines vertical takeoff.
Full picture. Work on these air shows and stuff of getting your shutter speed at a slow enough rate that you could pan with the aircraft so it shows motion in the propellers rather than freezing them. It's not an easy task to do. If you shoot like, if you ask Al Brown, he shoots some of these things at 1/30th of a second and they're flying by him and he gets the propeller motion. And I know Ron Denk is really good at it too. It's a hard thing to catch, but otherwise I think this is nice. 7.
Field of Dreams.
Okay, this is cool. I love the layers of the flowers. Sky's a little bit bright. The sky might be a little bit blown out, but we'll look at this one again. 7. So again, lines in your images are important. This is a line that pulls you through the image. I think it's kind of interesting. 7. Love the birch trees.
Shattered Pier.
So I think that's a good choice for black and white. I'm not sure you need all that in the bottom. What if you took a quarter off the bottom? Do you really, it's bright. And again, it's sort of visually heavy where it's pulling my eye down to that brightness. I'd rather look at that structure and look at the sky behind it. I don't think you need all that in front. 6.
Dapple.
Okay, pretty cool patterns. Light's kind of cool. 7. Nicely done.
Indigo Bunting.
Beautiful bird. Just a simple thing. You got this beautiful bird. Select the bird and either use curves or just use your burn tool to just darken that background in the back a little bit. All right. You don't want the background is really bright against this beautiful bird. If that background was just a little bit darker, I'm not saying to make it black, just make it a little bit subdued. It would make that bird pop out a little bit more, but it's nicely done. 7.
Dream Walking.
Very cool. Lots of cool stuff going on in the picture. I really like the baby carriage there on the right. It gives you a lot to think about. And the shadow outside. This is cool. Certainly something different. 7. This was your reject from the Abandoned and Decayed. This is a good picture. This is really nice. Your exposure's, perfect. I think it's an interesting subject. I like the way, if you look through that far door, there's a little structure all the way in the back. Your eye pulls right through to that structure. 7.
Quiet Autumn Refuge.
So again, you got the backlight on those leaves. The tree on the left isn't bothering me as much. The tree on the right's bothering me a little bit, but we'll look at this one again. 7. The waterfalls are beautiful.
Self-confident.
And so, always eagles are a tough exposure. At this angle, especially when they pull that fish out and the sun is behind you, because look at what's happening with that fish. That fish is like, I'm not sure that it's blown out, but it's pretty bright. But either way, you captured, a great angle. I think your eagle is sharp. 7.
Remembrance.
Okay, so this looks like the World Trade Center Memorial. I just wish those shadows were a little bit pulled up. It's almost dark. You can't tell. The only reason I know because I've been there. It's so dark and the rose is so bright. I think there's just too much contrast there. 6. Concept is really good though. 8. 8. 8. 9. 9. 9. 9. 8. 9.
Sand formations, Emma Tager. 7, Fernando Gomes. U.S. Marines vertical takeoff, Alpha Lucio. Field of Dreams, Wayne Greenstone. Up the Margot Partridge. Quiet Autumn Refuge, Fernando Groves. Equal Merit, Dappled, Fernando Groves. Indigo Bunting, Alpha Lucio. Dreamwalking, Wayne Greenstone. Pompeii, still standing after centuries, Emma Tager. Self-confident, Alpha Gucci. Cranford-Millburn, open egg. Paragliding, the view from 13,000 feet.
That's cool. Luckily that the red really makes it. Not sure if you colored that. I don't really care, but it looks cool. 7. Think your greens are just pushed a little bit too much and your bright sky is hurting you there. 6.
Milkweed.
All right, not a bad choice for black and white. I think it works. I wish you didn't cut off the milkweed on the bottom like that. I wish you would have cropped it just a little bit wider. But we'll look again. 7.
Peanut Tree Dance.
All right, so it's a cool capture, but the light is behind you, and the back of the wing and the tail there are really blown out. I wish you had a little bit of a better angle at this. I mean, if he was facing this way to the right and the light was hitting his face, I think this would be a lot stronger. But it is a cool capture. So again, just watch your background. Notice there's a bright spot in the back right there. Just tone that down a little bit. But we'll look again. 7.
Morning at Lockwood.
Okay, beautiful. If you haven't been to Lockwood, great place to shoot, especially in the fall. Yeah, I like it. I really like the rocks. I really, leading line, you got some moving water, brings you out to the trees. And if you catch Lockwood Gorge in the fall, early in the morning as that sun is coming up, those backlit leaves are just, there's nothing like it. But this is nice. 7.
House finch in the slip.
Okay, well, you certainly got the head sharp. A lot of focus fall off on the bird. But the head is so sharp, it's not really bothering me. Just a warning, if you get into more nature competitions, they're going to want that whole bird sharp from beak to tail. They're going to want it sharp. But I think this is cool because the head is just so sharp. The snow is cool. 7, if it's real. So you saw something interesting. Something like this, it's more of a snapshot of something interesting. It's certainly cool, but I don't think it fits in here as a competition image. Just a cool snapshot. 6.
Still sleeping.
Okay, so I like the way, the statue and the building, I like the perspective you took of those two. I think that really works cool. You had a great sky for this. Your foreground's nice and clean leading to that. I think you did this really nice. 7.
Overcast morning.
Okay. Another nice picture. It looks like Lockwood Gorge again, maybe. Not sure. A lot of times these rivers look the same. 7.
Backyard stare down. Riptail Park.
He's going after the birds in your feeder, Where's the feeder? So beautiful job on the hawk. He's tack sharp, exposure's perfect. Just tone the background down. The background's just a little bit bright. Again, select the bird, select inverse. You could use layers, I mean levels, curves, the burn tool. Just darken that background because otherwise this is perfect. 7. And he's staring right at us.
Man with a horn.
Well, I bet this wasn't Cranford. Nice exposure, interesting story. 7.
View from the tracks.
It won't be the judge who tells you to stay off the tracks, but be careful on tracks. So I like your low angle. The trees on the right are interesting. The trees on the left are a little bit boring. I'm not sure that it's strong enough to hold your interest in here, the trees. I wish all the trees were, had fall color in them. I just don't think the ones on the left have enough. And it's just kind of bringing you to the sky. Well, we'll look again at this one. 7.
Flower power.
Nice, good story. Exposure's good. 7. So I wonder if the photographer's on top of a hill or the photographer's hanging from one of these things with his camera too. 8. 7. That's too bright on the right. It's a great capture though. 9. 9. 9. 8. Listen, if this was the B group, this would get a 9, but the back is just too bright because that bird is perfect. I want to give it a 6 so you could just darken the background and put it back in, but I passed that. 8. 9. 7. 9.
Paragliding, the view from 13,000 feet, Wendy Milligan. Milkweed, Nellie Stola. Overcast morning, James Choyan. Backyard stare down, red-tailed hawk, Wendy Milligan. Equal merit, Morning at Lockwood, James Schleck. Cinch in the snow, Wendy Milligan. Still sleeping, Charlene Federer. Man with a horn, Wendy Kaplowitz. Flower Power, James Schleck. Cranford-Millburn Open Salon. Grandview Farm.
Oh, I know this place. 7.
Manhattan in Blue.
7.
Mean Business.
Interesting choice for black and white, but I really think the black and white pulls you to this guy's eyes and really adds to the story. 7.
Ghosts.
7.
Dandelion Color Splash.
7. Great colors.
Beware of the Haze.
So notice, I don't know if this is the same as that other one, but notice the top of the window's not cut off. 7.
Shatter.
Well, you certainly followed the rule of thirds. Cool patterns. I like the the colors behind it. I like the the textures within the fracture there. 7. That's what that picture is cool.
Serpentine.
7. That's cool.
Gosling.
Well, it's really cool that you got a nice low angle. I might cut a little bit off the blurry bottom there. When you get that low angle, you get the grasses right in front of your lens and it gets that blurry. You don't need all of that, but otherwise I think you did good. I like the thirds, it's sharp and everything. 7.
Washington Square Park.
All right, so you got a really cool sky. I'm not sure I'm loving the square crop on this one. I'm just thinking a more, a more 4-3 one might be a little better, but that's the photographer's choice on that. I think otherwise this is done really well. 7.
Conflict.
Okay, so here's where it's a competition. Great action is being caught. You could see this guy's eyes, right? I don't mind the ref standing back there. Do you see the little bright spot by the one guy's thigh in between the referee? That is bothering the crap out of me. It's the first thing I looked at when I saw this image. Other than that, the thing is perfect. And that's so easy. You could take that out in half a second. But we'll look again. 7.
Purple.
Nice.
Blue Heron.
Really nice job on the bird. Interesting background. Again, this is a salon group. I'm going to make the comment. I think your blues are pushed a little bit too much. Look at the blue in the log, in the perch, right? I'm not so sure that there's blue in that thing. And I think the blue on the bird's shoulder is a little bit pushed, but otherwise, I love the pose. I love the detail you got in there. I really like the contrast against the background. 7.
Broken Doll.
Somebody's freaky in here. 7, nice.
Glorious light.
Always worth it to catch a double rainbow. Seven.
U of NYC.
So this is a great picture. You know, it's really important if you're shooting the skyline, and believe me, I've done it myself a million times. Like, there's no sky better than that blue hour sky when the lights are on. You know, that's the best picture. You're just probably after blue hour here. You have a little bit of blue in the sky, but you're starting to lose it. But you know, and again, that's at least it's not a black sky. The black sky I really don't like, but 7. Cool view.
Little islands fall foliage.
A little bright in the background. And again, it might just be projecting that way, but that sky is really bright and it's really pulling the interest away from the cool structure there. And I might just crop a little bit off the bottom. 6.
Ready, aim.
Yeah, great action. You know, in sports photography, when you get eye contact, that's really where you're, you know, he's in an awesome position, but look at his eye on that ball. You know, he's totally focused, and that's the sign that you nailing it, or that you're nailing it in sports photography. 7.
For 3.
I love the chair, and I love, you know, the doorway pulls you through. There's another door. There's something else back there. Lots of interest in this. Another, you know, sometimes bold but neat idea to change these to black and white. 7.
Green heron.
Okay, nice clean background, nice perch, nice head angle. 7.
Stairway.
Okay, so again, nice choice for black and white. You know, again, it's always a bold choice to take these textures with these crazy colors and push them in black and white, but the textures here kind of make it okay to turn black and white. To me, it looks like there's a little bit of an effect on this. You know, some sort of post-processing effect. Not sure that I love that so much, but I do love the underlying photograph. I think it's your angles and everything are cool. 7.
Soft-tailed whiteface.
Okay, well, the head is sharp. You are, oh, no. Your perch is a little bit busy. You know, that bottom perch is kind of taking away from the bird. Well, the dragonfly. You know, I'm not sure what to tell you. I wish you could get, you know, at a little better an angle so that big thing isn't on the bottom, but we'll look again at this one. 7. See how much it bothers me the second time through. Mm, mm. 9. 8. 9. 9. 9. 9. 8. 9. 9. I wish that road wasn't there. That road in the middle is kind of bothering me. I know you had to get back, so you're like you almost killed yourself running back to get the whole rainbow in there, and then the judge is dinging you for the road being in there. But it just kind of bothers me. It's a beautiful image otherwise. Just take the road out and post-processing. Nobody will know the difference. 7, 8, 9, 9, 9, 7. Nice job, everybody. Beautiful pictures.
Salon. Honorable mention, Grandview Farm, Ryan Kirsch. Manhattan in Blue, Peter Schmabel. Ghost, Cheryl Gaffili. Goslin, Ryan Kirschner. Rainy Day in Washington Square Park, Peter Schmabel. Conflict, Al Brown.
Oh no.
Blue McDonald. View of NYC, Ryan Kirsch. Stairway, Ellen Stein. Equal Merit. Mean Business, Al Brown. Dandelion Color Splashes, Lenny McDonald. Beware of the Hands, Natalie Gregory.
You put those there, or were they there?
Shouting, Ellen Stein.
Oh,
Serpentine, Arlene Serpenzette. Abandoned Land number 4, Cheryl Gilfilson. Broken Doll, Ellen.
I was thinking that too.
Hey, Ready, Aim, Al Brown. Abandoned Rooms number 3, Cheryl Gilfilson. Green Heron, Lenny McDonald. That is all.
Nice job.
Did you see the hands in there?
Oh, I saw the hands. Yeah.
Does anyone who's online have any questions for Nick? Did they hear me?
I heard, no questions. I appreciated the commentary.
Okay. If no one online has any questions, we'll say good night to everybody. And I'll be sending out emails with the info for the holiday party. Good night
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
and congratulations.
Lenny, you're killing me.